Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the adoption of the conference committee report, the ayes are 164, the nays are 5. The committee of conference report has been adopted on Senate Bill 137. While we're getting ready to take up some more business, I hope you will indulge me. We've recognized a lot of important people and got a few more yet to go, but the next group is very special to me. I can't do what little I try to do as the Speaker of this House without those people who work in the Speaker's office. So I hope that you will help me recognize a group that works hard, that loves this house, and that I love very much. Diane, Leisha, Spiro, Christy, Marshall, and even Bill. Christy reminded me that I left out Shannon, Trooper Carroll, and this session we have been blessed to have Kay Goodrow with us. And is she on the floor? Okay, she's in there working. So thank you all very, very much. Okay, we got a few members who have expressed interest in making motions to temporarily suspend the rules so that bills may be read for the first time and assigned to committee. If you have one of those motions, you need to hit your button now, because we're going to take up those now, and then we're not going to come back to them until next January. If you have such a motion. What purpose does Chairman Burns rise?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to make a motion.
State your motion.
Mr. Speaker, I'd ask that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended to allow a bill and a resolution to be read for the first time and assigned to committee.
Clerk will read the bill and the resolution.
A bill by Representative Burns, 159th. The bill will be entitled Act Amendment Title 48 relating to sales and use tax.
On the motion of the gentleman that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended to allow a bill to be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? The chair hears none, and it is so ordered. Ways and Means. Clerk will read the resolution.
Resolution by Representative Burns, 159th. A resolution proposing amendment of the Constitution to provide for comprehensive revision of joint county, municipal, local option sales and use tax, provide for ratification or rejection.
On the motion of the gentleman that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended to allow a resolution to be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? The chair hears none. It is so ordered. Ways and Means. What purpose does Representative Bennett rise?
Mr. Chairman, I rise to make a motion
State your motion.
that the rules of the House be temporarily suspended to allow for the first reading of a bill.
Clerk will read the caption.
A bill by Representative Stevenson, the 90th. The bill will be entitled Act Amendment Title 36 relating to incorporation of municipalities.
On the motion of the lady that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended to allow a bill to be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? Chair hears none. It is so ordered. Governmental Affairs. Any other member have a motion to suspend the rules to allow a bill to be read for the first time and assigned to committee? Going once, going twice. Chair recognizes Representative Casas for an evening order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the members of the 601 suite please join me here at the podium? And if you'll look in that ante room, and please ask Donna Woodham to join us here. She's over there. There she is.
Where's Brett?
There she is.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House, Donna was employed by the General Assembly back in 1998, and before that she worked with GEMA, but she came and worked in CLOB 609 for Bill Hembry, Doug Teeper, Bob Lane, all those famous names. And then she moved to higher ed to be the assistant to Chairman Bill Hembry. After that, she assisted him when he was the Rules Chairman. And recently, she has been the secretary at 601, our assistant there, and she has just been a wonderful lady to get to know. And June 1st will be her last day. She's retiring, and we just want to not only congratulate her, but also thank her for her years of service. We have here a certificate, Donna, a Faithful Service Award presented to you for 15 years of faithful service.
Congratulations. Thank you. I know you're so sick. Congratulations.
15 years.
House will be in order. The House will come to order. Chair recognizes Chairman Golick for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the House adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 143.
Chairman Golick has moved that this House adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 143. The clerk will read the caption, or will read the Conference Committee report on House Bill 143.
Committee of Conference report on House Bill 143. Committee of Conference on House Bill 143 recommends both Senate, House of Representatives receive from their positions the attached Committee of Conference substitute House Bill 143 be adopted. Submitted for the House of Representatives, Representative Golick the 40th, Representative O'Neill the 146th, Representative Wilkinson the 52nd. For the Senate, Senator Mullis, Senator and other senators.
We'll accept that. Senator Mullis, Senator Schaefer, and Senator Chance. Anytime, Mr. Clerk. Chair recognizes Chairman Golick to explain his motion.
Thank you, Mr.
Just
Speaker.
a minute, Mr. Chairman. House will be in order, please. We're trying to finish up our business here.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 143 is the campaign finance companion measure that traveled with House Bill 142. This conference committee report is essentially a reflection of the House position with some technical fixes asked for by the Commission. The only substantive change that I would say that we adopted from the other side has to do with that disclosure of any funds that are raised between January 1 and the time that we go into session on the second Monday in January. That date is a floating date, so the Senate recommended a hard date of January 31. We adopted that as a good, efficient fix and would ask for your favorable consideration on the report. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
You have a question?
Yes, sir.
Do you yield?
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Chairman Setzler to your right for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
There's been discussion in the conference committee process about the issue of non-elected officials having constraints with respect to fundraising during legislative sessions, transfer of campaign dollars. Could you speak to the provisions affecting that in this bill?
Those provisions were added in the Senate, but they are not in the conference committee report at our insistence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you yield for another question?
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Representative Kidd to your left for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
A couple of questions, please. I'm confused somewhat in some of the language in this new version, which to me is significantly different than what we passed in the House earlier. And when it goes down to $75, is that $75 per day? Or can someone spend $75 for breakfast, $75 for lunch, $75 for supper?
Thank you, Mr. I appreciate the question. That's actually in the companion measure, House Bill 142. This is House Bill 143. But my sense is that we'll be getting to 142 at some point in the next 2 hours.
I apologize.
Not at all. Not at all. A lot of paper on the desk, I understand.
You have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask for your favorable consideration.
Gentleman has yielded the well on the adoption of the conference committee report on House Bill 143. All those in favor will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Yeah, Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the adoption of the conference committee report on House Bill 143, the ayes are 169, the nays are 1. The committee of conference report has been adopted. The clerk, we're taking up a measure that was postponed from the rules calendar, Senate Bill 181. The clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 181. It is on the rules calendar.
Senate Bill 181 by Senator Bethel, 54th. A bill to be entitled Act relating to American History Month and Georgia History Month, so as declares September of each year to be Georgia History Month. This bill has been before the House Committee on State Planning and Community Affairs. The committee recommends that this bill do pass. The bill is being read today for its third time.
Chair recognizes the governor's floor leader, Representative Hatchett, to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Senate Bill 181. It's not like Jay Neal's Romeo and Juliet, but we are recharting history. This bill simply changes the month in which we recognize Georgia history from February to September. Mr. Speaker, I will yield the well if I don't have any questions.
You have a couple of questions if you care to yield.
I will take them.
Chair recognizes Representative Casas to your left for a question.
This gentleman yield.
Yes.
Isn't it true that Oglethorpe and the colonists arrived in Georgia in February of 1733? And thus, February should be the month that we celebrate Georgia history.
I'm sure the gentleman believes that which he speaks. I'll yield.
You have another question if you care to yield.
I yield.
Are you tired? Chair recognizes Representative Spencer to your right for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Didn't James Oglethorpe found 2 forts on Cumberland Island in Camden County?
I'm sure the gentleman speaking is what he believes. Mr. Speaker, I will yield the well.
Now you got another question.
All right, I'll take it.
Well, the chair just thinks that it's important that people on the coast weigh in on this a little bit. Chair recognizes Representative Ben Watson to your right for a question.
Will the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Isn't it true, Representative Hatchett, that Georgia's been celebrating for almost 280 years this month of February when Georgia was founded in 1732?
As I've said, I'm sure the gentleman believes that which he speaks. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll yield the well.
All right. Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? Have all members now voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of Senate Bill 181. The ayes are 47, the nays are 117. The measure has failed. I take it you don't want a reconsideration. Chair recognizes Representative Buckner for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I move to agree with the Senate amendment to House Bill 189.
Clerk, the lady has moved that this House agree to the Senate amendment to House Bill 189. Clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 189 by Representative Buckner, the 137th. The bill being entitled Amendment Title 12 relating to parks, historic areas, memorials. The bill is a Senate amendment. House Bill 189 is printed and on your desk. The Senate offers the following amendment. Amend House Bill 189. The amendment, upper right-hand corner, 281280.
Chair recognizes Representative Buckner to explain her motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, the Senate have amended House Bill 189. This amendment is very narrowly drawn to just affect the city of Atlanta to allow them to exchange some property that's currently being used as a park with an institution that is a federal historic site. If there are no questions, I ask for your favorable consideration.
Do you have a question if you yield? He waves. Yeah, you have no questions now.
Thank you.
Lady has yielded the well. What purpose does Chairman Roberts rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Speaker, I'd like for you to look at that amendment and rule on the germaneness of it, please.
Chair has reviewed the amendment and believes that the amendment is germane. What purpose does the minority leader of the House? She waves. Purpose does Chairman McCall rise?
Make a motion, Mr. Speaker.
State your motion.
Move to lay 189 on the table.
The gentleman has moved to place House Bill 189 on the table. All those in favor of the, is there any objection? There is objection. What purpose does the minority leader rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, given the ruling earlier on HB 137, can you opine as to the validity of the motion being made, given that there was a motion on the floor?
Yeah, I think I thought that we were on the rules calendar and we're not, and I apologize to the representative for that. I think there is a prior outstanding motion, and the motion to table would be out of order, so we're going to vote the measure. The amendment has been ruled germane, so it is with the bill. So we're on now to the main measure. The question before the House is whether to agree to the Senate amendment to House Bill 189. On the lady's motion, all those in favor will vote yes, those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the lady's motion that this House agree to the Senate amendment to House Bill 189. The ayes are 144, the nays are 27. This House has agreed.
What, 10 o'clock? 11?
Chair recognizes Chairman Weldon for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I move that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 182.
Chairman Weldon has moved that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 182. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 182 by Representative Weldon III, a bill to be entitled Amendment Title 15 relating to juvenile court administration. Senate substitute, which is subject. Representative Weldon's motion. Senate office following substitute, House Bill 182. This substitute is printed on your desk, upper right-hand corner, LC 295691S.
Chair recognizes Chairman Weldon to explain his motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Senate substitute merely provides that in the event that a juvenile court judge is disqualified, ill, or absent, the judge of the juvenile court may appoint a member of the Georgia Bar to stand in as a judge of the juvenile court. That's all that was added to what passed the this body or this House, and I ask that you agree and appreciate your favorable consideration. If there are no questions, Mr. Speaker, I'll yield.
There are no questions. Gentleman has yielded the well. On the gentleman's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute, House Bill 182, all those in favor of the motion will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the gentleman's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 182, the ayes are 166. The nays are 2. This House has agreed. Chair recognizes Chairman Rice for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to move that the House agree to the Senate amendment to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to House Bill 463.
All right, let's diagram this one now. Chairman Rice has moved that this House agree to the Senate amendment to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to House Bill 463. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 463 by Representative Rice, 95th. Bill being entitled 40, relating to motor vehicle license fees and classes. The Senate amendment, which is subject to Representative Rice's motion to agree. The Senate offers the following amendment. Amend the House amendment to the Senate substitute, House Bill 463. This amendment is printed on your desk, AM 340623.
Chair recognizes Chairman Rice to explain his motion.
I'll take a deep breath and try to explain to you what has happened here. The original 463 was the bill for the International Registration Plan, which allowed our truckers to register their vehicles through DOR without having to pay an ad valorem tax. They paid a higher registration fee. We got rid of the ad valorem tax on those trucks, and so it was a much more effective way to go about it. The bill supported by GMTA, we passed this bill overwhelmingly. It got to the Senate. The IRP section, International Registration Plan, got stripped out for reasons that are still unknown to me. And there was an amendment added that it makes it easier for the tax commissioners to implement the new title fee. That was left in. The bill came back over here. We amended it and added the IRP language back in and left the title fee language amendment the Senate did in. When we did that, this amendment you see in front of you, which puts trailer and semi-trailer back into the old system of ad valorem collection, which it always was in, was left out. And so it's a technical correction to 463. So I'd ask you to agree as we have made the motion to do so. If I have a question, Mr. Speaker, I'd be happy to answer them if I can.
You have no questions. Gentleman has yielded the will. On the motion of Chairman Rice that this House agree to the Senate amendment to the House amendment to the Senate substitute to House Bill 463. All those in favor of the motion will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the gentleman's motion, the ayes are 167, the nays are 1. This House has agreed to the Senate amendment, to the House amendment, to the Senate substitute, to House Bill 463. I wanted to say that 2 or 3 more times, Mr. Chairman.
Deep breath. 302. Watch your pen stop. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Broderick for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You have on your desk Senate substitute to House Bill 302, and I ask for your favorable approval of this. The reason for the substitution is after we passed the bill here on February 27th, the State Crime Lab identified an additional synthetic marijuana which was added into the Senate substitute. So again, I would take any questions, but I would ask for your favorable consideration and adoption of Senate substitute to House Bill 302.
The gentleman moves that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 302. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 302 by Representative Broderick is the fourth. Bill to be entitled Amendment Title 16 relating to controlled substances. The Senate substitute, which is subject of Representative Broderick's motion to agree. Senate substitute, House Bill 302, upper right-hand corner, printed and placed on your desk, LC 335200S.
Chair recognizes Representative Broderick to explain the motion.
Okay. Again, we added to the Senate substitute a newly identified synthetic marijuana that is in Section 1.1 on your copy. I'd move that we adopt the Senate substitute to House Bill 302.
There is a question. Chair recognizes Representative Teasley for a question.
To your left. Bruce, over here to your left.
Okay, yeah. Hey.
Does the gentleman yield?
I'll yield. Yes, sir.
I couldn't hear you over the dull roar of the House. Could you repeat the part about the synthetic marijuana?
Yes. After we passed the bill here on February 27th, the State Crime Lab identified an additional synthetic marijuana compound which was added into this bill as a Senate substitute. And that is in your section 1.1 at the bottom of the page 1.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more questions.
I yield the well. Thank you.
For what purpose does Representative Dollar rise? He waves. On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 302, all those in favor will vote yes, all those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the gentleman's motion. The yeas are 166, the nay is 1, and the House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 302. Chair recognizes Chairman Powell for a motion.
Madam Speaker, I move that the House agree to Senate substitute to House Bill 382.
The gentleman has moved that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 382. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 382 by Representative Powell, 171st bill to be entitled Amendment Title 51 relating to general provisions for torts. The Senate substitute, House Bill 382, is printed on your desk. Senate substitute, House Bill 382, upper right-hand corner, LC 295685S.
Members are having a difficult time hearing the discussion. Please take your conversations to the anteroom. The chair recognizes Chairman Powell to explain the motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Senate, in consideration of House Bill 382, took out the provision that said it applied to public and private entities and left it only as private entities, and then that way we did not have a problem
with the hold harmless provisions that could not be held against the state. But other than that, everything is intact just like it left the House, and I would encourage that the members adopt this Senate substitute. And I yield the will.
There are no questions. The gentleman has yielded the well. On the gentleman's motion that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 382, all those in favor will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the gentleman's motion, the yeas are 165, the nays are 0. The House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 382. Chair recognizes Chairman Rice for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House agree to the Conference Committee report on Senate Bill 121.
Chairman Rice moves that the House adopt the Committee on Conference report for Senate Bill 121. Clerk will read the caption.
Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 121. The Committee of Conference on Senate Bill 121 recommends both the Senate and House representatives receive from their positions the attached Committee of Conference substitute. Senate Bill 121 be adopted. Respect submitted for the House, Representative Rice, 95th, Representative Powell, 32nd, Representative 15th. For the Senate, Senator Carter of the 1st, Senator Mullis, Senator Ramsey.
Chair recognizes Chairman Rice to explain the Committee of Conference report for Senate Bill 121.
Well, ladies and gentlemen of the House, there's probably no reason why we at 10:40 at night should be working on another tag bill. But unfortunately, we have the opportunity to do that one more time. Senate Bill 121 is a bill that's been a composite bill that basically includes all the tags that were reported out earlier by Representative Carson. Now, I just wanted to tell you about this. What's included in this bill are the corrections to the veterans tags, which are very important in terms of not allowing somebody with a dishonorable discharge to get a tag, a veterans tag, which is pretty vital. Senator Ramsey also offered this Representative Emeritus tag for those who have 8 years of service. Also included in this bill is the Appalachian Trail tag, which is a shared revenue tag, and the Braves tag, which is also shared revenue. And there are a few other miscellaneous changes. Now, what we do over here, every time we get all these tag bills, we try to accommodate the members in terms of what they're attempting to do. When 121 came over here as the retired legislator tag, we changed it to former member because you couldn't determine what a retired member actually was over here. And so what we did was to change that and put it in the tag with the Braves and all the rest of it and send it over to the Senate. The retired tag got stripped out. Now, you have this on your desk. You also have a conference committee on 104, which Representative Carson will undoubtedly address if, in fact, 121 fails. Let me tell you the reason why 121 should not fail. When we did this bill in Motor Vehicles Committee, there frankly were some former representatives sitting in the room who had some odd 25 to 30 years of service here. And the question really became, should they have any less opportunity to have a special tag than the firefighters, than the veterans, than other people who, myriads of tags that we already have as special tags. And so the decision was, I have 16 years of service down here. I would obviously qualify for one of these tags, should the people desire to retire me, which they really could very quickly if I don't get out of the well. But the fact of the matter is that I probably would buy a University of Georgia tag when I leave this place. But shouldn't these other people have the opportunity to have a tag also? And we could see no good reason why an emeritus tag would not be an appropriate thing for a representative to have, should they so desire. There's 230 some odd members, former members, that could apply for it, and we just wanted to give them the opportunity to do that. Now, Senator Ramsey, the author of 121, has been very good about trying to accommodate us, accommodate his own interests, and so I'd ask you just to agree with this. And we'll just see whether it's 2, 3, 4, 5 people apply for it or not. But that's probably what's going to happen. If there are any questions, Madam Speaker, I'll be glad to answer any.
There are questions. The chair recognizes Representative Setzler for a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Does the gentleman yield?
I yield.
As I read through SB, the Conference Committee report to 121, and I compare that to 104, as you had stated, 104 is almost identical, except 121 adds the retired legislator tag.
That's exactly right.
So if it were a member's desire to pass the veterans-related license tags and some of the other license tags you referenced, would it not be a rational move to? But if you oppose the legislative tag, you vote down 121, vote in 104, and we accomplish all the things for veterans we need. But we wouldn't have the tag for the...
And that's absolutely the case. You have to understand that the 104 bill came over a fair amount later than 121, and so the hope would be that we'd be able to get it on tonight before we get out of here. All I'm trying to do is make sure that happens. I think a little added insurance by having this other tag available is worth it. You got to make that decision for yourself.
Appreciate your clarity on the issue.
Chair recognizes Representative Holcomb for a question.
I'll take one more.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Sure.
I want to make sure I understand that issue on the veterans too. As I'm reading lines 65 and 66, this would be eligible for anybody under conditions other than dishonorable. And then below that, line 71 to 73, it strikes out to where this would have to be honorable conditions. I would much prefer that it be only eligible for honorable conditions, and I thought that that's what you said and explained.
This was asked for by the Veterans Administration to clarify the language. That's why we made the change. I think it's your choice in terms of how you choose to see it. It's in the eye of the beholder. But the fact of the matter is that that was recommended by Chairman Yates and his committee to me as some change that we would like to make.
Okay, thank you.
With that, I'll yield the well, and you can vote on the issue.
Gentleman has yielded the well. For what purpose does the members have waived? On the adoption of the conference committee report, for what purpose does Representative Roberts rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Madam
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that if we want to make sure that we pass the Veterans Bill, the Appalachian Trail Bill, and the Braves Bill tonight, that we should vote yes for this? If not, we may run out of time.
If the gentleman so states. On the adoption of the conference committee report for Senate Bill 121, all in favor of the adoption of the conference committee report will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the adoption of the conference committee report on Senate Bill 121. The yeas are 134, the nays are 35, and the committee of conference report is adopted.
Chair recognizes the Chairman Hamilton for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House agree with Senate substitute to House Bill 139.
Chairman Hamilton has moved that this House agree to the Senate substitute, House Bill 139. Clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 139, Representative Hamilton, 24. A bill entitled Act Title 15 relating to general provisions regarding sheriffs. The Senate substitute, House Bill 139, is printed and on your desk. It's subject to Representative Hamilton's motion to agree. Senate substitute, upper right-hand corner, LC 286741S.
Chair recognizes Chairman Hamilton to explain his motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I bring to you House Bill 139. This measure passed out of the House 171-0. In the Senate committee, we made two small changes that were requested by the Sheriff's Association. One was that we put in there that the probate judge should notify the election superintendent immediately if he found any issues on the background check. And we also just removed one sentence that was duplicative in the bill. And that's all we did, so I'd ask for your favorable consideration for this measure. Thank you very much.
Gentleman has yielded the well. All those in favor of the motion by the gentleman to agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 139 will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machines.
Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the gentleman's motion. The yeas were 172, the nays were 0, and the House has agreed to the Senate substitute to House Bill 139. Chair recognizes Speaker Ralston for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that this House adopt the Conference Committee report on House Bill 142.
Speaker Ralston moves that the House adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 142. The clerk will read the Conference Committee report.
Committee of Conference report on House Bill 142. The Committee of Conference on House Bill 142 recommends both the Senate, House of Representatives receive from their positions the attached committee of conference substitute, House Bill 142, be adopted. Respectively submitted for the House of Representatives, Representative Golick, Representative O'Neill, Representative Meadows. For the Senate, Senator Mullis, Senator Schaefer, Senator Chance.
Chair recognizes Speaker Ralston to explain the Committee of Conference report for House Bill 142.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, members of the House. I come before you this evening to ask you to adopt the Committee of Conference report on House Bill 142. We have traveled a long road together over the last several months in having a public discussion in this state regarding the relationship between public officials and those that we label and register as lobbyists. Sometimes that subject has come under the heading of ethics reform or lobbying reform or whatever it might be. Back in February, 164 members of this body voted for the very first time in Georgia to ban individual spending on public officials by registered lobbyists, a historic vote, and a vote for which I thank you. That measure went across the hall to the other body, and as happens in this process, they have taken the matter up and they have weighed in, and they passed a version of that and sent it back to us, and we ended up in a conference committee. We have worked hard. We have worked in a very intense way because the cynics and skeptics notwithstanding, I was absolutely committed that we were going to do a bill this session. I believed it was important that we do that to keep the faith with the people of Georgia. And I think that we have done that. Have we done that in a way that I would have most preferred? No. I believe that the measure this House passed was tough and strong, and I remain as proud of that measure tonight as I was on February the 25th when we passed it. And I hope you remain proud of that, because you can go back and tell the people in your district that you cast a historic vote. By voting for this Committee of Conference report tonight, you can do the same thing, because although not perfect, this measure does for the first time put some limitations on spending by registered lobbyists on public officials. The conference committee report that's before you and has been on your desk now for a few hours proposes a limitation of $75 per expenditure. And I think that number is significant because it showed that we wanted to go beyond the ballot sentiments that were expressed by the people in both political parties' primaries last year. And I think that that keeps faith with the people of Georgia. The conference committee report retains the specific prohibitions not subject to that against payment for tickets to ball games, golf outings, concerts, and other events such as that. I think it's an improvement, a historic improvement in our law, and it's one that I would recommend to you. I think that we can leave here tonight, hold our heads high, and know that we did the people's work and kept faith with the people of Georgia. The other thing that's important about this bill is that it also incorporates a lot of discussion that's been had about this thing we call lobbying. I found out that that's a word that some people don't like and took offense to. But I think that it is important in the spirit of openness and transparency that we have championed here that we make sure that people who come to this Capitol to advocate for and against measures on a regular and frequent basis are identified as what Webster's dictionary calls lobbyists. And so the bill retains, with one minor change, this House's language regarding the lobbyist identification, definition, and registration section. It does replace the number of days test with a compensation or reimbursement of expense test by providing that if an individual is compensated for lobbying or is reimbursed more than $250 in a calendar year or expects to be so reimbursed, then they are a lobbyist. This is a good measure. This measure improves and strengthens our law, and it puts us on the road, I believe, to doing even better things for the people of Georgia. This is a tough and complex issue, and those of you that have worked on this issue through the House, the bipartisan House Working Group and the Rules Committee and the Rules Subcommittee know that it's a challenging issue. It's particularly challenging for me because I sort of sometimes take a little bit of offense at those who would unfairly, wrongly, incorrectly trample on the good names of you in this body who I believe and know to be good people doing good work for purely political gain for themselves. I ask you tonight to adopt this conference committee report, and let's move forward and keep faith with the people of Georgia. Madam Chair, I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. For what purpose does Representative Kidd rise? He waves. On the adoption of the committee conference report on House Bill 142, all in favor of the adoption of the conference committee report will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the adoption of the conference committee report on House Bill 142. The yeas are 169, the nays are 0, and the committee of conference report is adopted.
I've got a good friend who works for the EMCs. I got a good friend who works for Georgia Power. I never explicitly told them I wouldn't do it, but for me to do that without giving them the heads up would not be my thing.
Does the Senate have to do the same thing? Or so we'll get it out of here.
House will come to order. House will come to order. Chair recognizes Representative Hightower for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the House agree to the Conference Committee report for SB 160.
Representative Hightower has moved that this House adopt the Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 160. The clerk will read the caption.
Committee of Conference report on Senate Bill 160. The Committee of Conference on Senate Bill 160 recommends both Senate and House Representatives receive from their positions. Attached Committee of Conference substitute Senate Bill 160 be adopted. The House of Representatives, Representative Ramsey, Representative Pack, Representative Hightower for the Senate, Senator Balfour, and Senator 47.
Chair recognizes Representative Hightower to explain the Committee of Conference report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, I bring before you today SB 160 as amended in our Committee of Conference. The bill that you have before you today goes a long way in streamlining government, promoting job growth. For professional license, the one and done language that we all know is desperately needed by many professional licensing boards throughout our state is in this bill. It also goes a long way in protecting the taxpayers of Georgia by filling a lot of loopholes that were there where illegal aliens were taking advantage of different public benefits. This is a good bill for us, a good bill for Georgia, and I ask that you agree to the amendment.
Chair,
Mr. Speaker, I yield the will.
Yeah, you have a question. Do you yield for a question?
I'll take a question, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Marin to your right for a question.
Dr. Gentleman Gill, isn't it true that Georgia will be the only state in the country that would not accept stand-alone passport as a valid ID?
I believe the gentleman believes that to be so. In this bill, what this says is that what we're going to do, if we're going to recognize a foreign passport, it also has to be accompanied with some other document from our federal Homeland Security proving that person is here legally.
Do you yield for another question?
I'll yield.
Chair recognizes Representative Ramsey to your right for a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Is it not true that every person with a foreign passport that's here lawfully will have in their possession the accompanying documentation that we've required that will make sure that the person with that foreign passport is in our country lawfully?
That's correct. Mr. Speaker, I'll yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. On the adoption of the conference committee report on Senate Bill 160, all those in favor of the adoption of the conference committee report will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. What purpose does Representative Oliver rise?
Parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
State your inquiry.
I do not understand on page 3 of this bill whether or not the homestead exemption application process is in the bill or out of the bill.
You want to answer that by parliamentary inquiry, Representative Hightower? I don't have the bill in front of me. The chair recognizes Representative Hightower. For what purpose do you rise?
Parliamentary.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that the homestead language has been taken out of this bill?
If the gentleman so states. Thank you. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the adoption of the conference committee report on Senate Bill 160. The ayes are 113. The nays are 54. The conference committee report has been adopted. Chair recognizes Chairman Alan Powell for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and ladies and gentlemen of the House. I would ask you to support the Senate substitute for Senate Bill 323. And let me tell you, the only thing this does is when it left the House, it had language at the end of it that allowed the Department of Public Safety to assess, collect, and retain the application fees. This was a holdover from the years when the Public Service Commission was doing this regulatory authority over the moving companies and the towing companies. And what the Senate has said in here is that they have added shall not exceed the total direct and indirect cost of administering the program or the activity for which this fee is associated. Basically, whatever the fees that they assess to the towing and the moving companies, that those are the fees that will be used for the administrative cost. And there's a row of guys up there on the top row. They'll be darn glad if you'll pass this, because they have had a heck of a time between these two houses. Mr. Speaker, I'd ask you to vote. I'd ask the members to vote for this substitute.
Clerk will read the caption to House Bill 323.
House Bill 323, Representative Powell, 32nd. A bill to be entitled Amendment Title 40 relating to identification regulation motor vehicles. The Senate substitute, which is subject to Representative Powell's motion, printed on your desk. Upper right-hand corner, House Bill 323, SCSFA/2.
On the gentleman's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 323, all those in favor will vote aye, those opposed will vote no, and the clerks will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the gentleman's motion, the ayes are 165, the nays are 3. This House has agreed to the Senate substitute, House Bill 323. All right, we still got just a couple of items of business still to do. The chair wants to remind all members, to please clean out your desk before you leave the chamber tonight. What is left will end up in a landfill somewhere. Clean out your desk before you leave. Chair recognizes Chairman Coleman for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, I'm asking and I move that the House recede from its position to disagree to the Senate amendment to the House amendment to House Bill 283, and that we agree.
Chairman Coleman has moved that this House recede from its position on House Bill 283. Clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 283 by Representative Coleman, 97th. The bill will be entitled Amendment Title 20 relating to education.
Chair recognizes Chairman Coleman to explain his motion. Just a minute, Mr. Chairman. I know everybody's excited. No one as much as me, but we need to keep order in the House so that members can hear what's going on. The gentleman may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What we're doing here in our receding from our position is we're agreeing to the Senate's position to lower the cap for the student scholarship from $65 million to $58 million, and we're agreeing to the change in the language on line 15 that calls it now a Public Education Innovative Fund Foundation.
You have a question if you care to yield.
I'll yield.
Chair recognizes the Minority Leader of the House, Representative Abrams, for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield?
I certainly will.
Chairman Coleman, is it not true that although there have been some very strong concerns about this bill, that in total the transparency language that's being put in place for the student scholarship organizations reflects very strongly the position that we've taken as a caucus, and that I strongly support us receding from our position and adopting the Senate substitute?
I think so.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Speaker,
You have no further questions.
I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. The question before the House is the gentleman's motion to recede from the House's position on House Bill 283. This will be a roll call vote. All those in favor of the gentleman's motion will vote aye. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the motion to recede, the ayes are 168, the nays are 3. This House has receded. Chair recognizes Representative Tanner for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 497.
Representative Tanner has moved that the House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 497. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 497 by Representative Tanner of the 9th. Bill to be entitled Act to amend Title 52 of the Georgia Boat Safety Act. The Senate substitute, House Bill 497, printed on your desk, LC 400406S.
Chair recognizes Representative Tanner to explain his motion.
On March the 7th, this body passed 497, 168 to 1. The only change made in the Senate was a typo. It's found on line 56. You'll see where the D is there. That was an E. That was just a typo in this bill. That's the only change, and I would ask for your favorable consideration.
Gentleman has yielded the well. On the gentleman's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 497, all those in favor will vote aye, those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the gentleman's motion, the ayes are 163, the nays are 1. This House has agreed to the Senate substitute, House Bill 497. Chair recognizes Representative Hardin for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the House agree to Senate substitute to House Bill 320.
Representative Hardin has moved that this House agree to the Senate substitute to House Bill 320. The clerk will read the caption.
House Bill 320 by Representative Hardin, 148. The bill will be entitled Act, amend Title 12, relating to solid waste management generally. The Senate substitute to House Bill 320. It's printed and placed on your desk. Senate substitute, House Bill 320, House Bill 320/SCSFA/2.
Chair recognizes Representative Hardin to explain his motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, this bill came back to us after the Senate amended their substitute exactly as we passed it out, and I would ask for your affirmative vote on this.
Just clerk will read the local count. Clerk.
Chair recognizes Representative Hardin to explain his motion.
Ladies and gentlemen of the House, I would ask that you have an affirmative vote on this. This bill came back to the House after the Senate amended their substitute exactly as we passed it out. Thank you.
You have a question if you care to yield.
I yield for one.
Chair recognizes Representative Welch to your left for a question.
Representative Hardin, do you yield?
I'd yield.
I thought the bill that we passed out had an exemption for the total capacity of 250 cubic yards.
That's correct, it did. However, we found that there's a better exemption already in law that we had not been informed of, so that was removed. Thank you.
You have no further questions.
I yield the well.
Gentleman yields the well. On the gentleman's motion that this House agree to the Senate substitute, House Bill 320. All those in favor of the motion will vote aye, those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the gentleman's motion, the ayes are 165, the nays are 0. This House has agreed to the Senate substitute, House Bill 320. We have a supplemental local calendar, third reading and passage of uncontested local bills. If there's no objection, we vote on the local calendar as a whole with a recorded vote. Chair hears none. It is so ordered. The clerk will read the caption to the local calendar.
Local legislation calendar, Georgia House of Representatives, Supplemental 2, Thursday, March 28, 2013. Local legislation Senate changes agreed to Senate substitute or amendment. Requisite delegation signatures obtained. House Bill 457 by Senate Committee substitute by Representative Braddock, the 19th, Paulding County. House Bill 484 by Senate Committee substitute by Representative Williamson, the 115th, Walton County, through the local calendar.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which is favorable to the passage of the bills? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall these bills now pass? All those in favor of passage of the bills on the local calendar will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the bills on the local calendar, the ayes are 172, the nays are 0. The local calendar has passed. What purpose does Representative Chokas rise?
Mr. Speaker, to make a motion.
State your motion.
I move that the House temporarily suspend its rules so a resolution can be read and assigned to committee.
Clerk will read the caption.
A resolution by Representative Chokas, 138, a resolution creating a House Study Committee on Student Protection, Prevention of Assaults on Public Schools.
On the motion of the representative that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended to allow a bill to be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? The chair hears none. It is so ordered. Public Safety and Homeland Security. What purpose does Chairman Knight rise?
To make a motion.
State your motion.
I ask that rules be temporarily suspended so a bill can be read for the first time and assigned to committee.
Clerk will read the caption.
A bill by Representative Knight, the 130th, bill to amend Act, amend Title 648 relating to aviation revenue and taxation.
On the motion of the gentleman that the rules of this House be temporarily suspended to allow a bill to be read for the first time and assigned to committee, is there objection? The chair hears none, and it is so ordered. Ways and Means. We are getting close to the goal line. There is one group I did not recognize earlier as being vital and critical to the work of this body. I have said it many times, and I will continue to say that no legislative body in this country has as great a clerk of the House and clerk's office as we do. Let's give a big thank you to Robbie Rivers and the clerk staff. The clerk asked me to say, as he would, with emphasis on the clerk's staff, because that's the kind of guy he is. And we can't do without him or the staff. So thank y'all very, very much.
Have a nice day.
recognizes for an evening order. House will be in order. We have a lot of guests with us, and we appreciate that very much. But we're going to have to ask that you keep the aisles clear until we complete our business. Chair recognizes the Chairman of the Public Safety and Homeland Security, Chairman Alan Powell, for an evening order.
Colleagues and ladies and gentlemen of the House, you know, this morning I started with the morning order, and I was telling you how proud I was of y'all because of this year, the process of dealing with the Second Amendment rights issues. And I talked about a lot of those people in the hitherlands who really didn't have an issue, but they were putting out so much misinformation. Well, I want to give you an update because you deserve that. And every member in here, whether you voted for House Bill 512 or Senate Bill 101, I think you deserve to know exactly what has happened. This has been an ongoing process. Since Senate Bill 101 left this House, went to the Senate, and just as House Bill 512, the Senate did not do a whole lot. We went into the conference committee that started on Tuesday. We had a couple of meetings. Yesterday was a naught day. Hard to find the senators. We cleaned up at first after the first couple of conference committee meetings. We did a lot of cleanup, perfected the bill, and you know, you should find it is no surprise because everybody knows that there was one issue, and that was the campus carry issue. You know, we were fighting an uphill battle. The fourth branch of government, the Board of Regents, had declared taboo. And I say that, and y'all know, and I mean, I don't say that disrespectful, but that's exactly right. The Board of Regents has been opposed from day one, and yes, they are the fourth branch of government. So yesterday, we couldn't get the senators until 2:30, and we had somewhat of a meeting. And at that time, they put forth a proposition. And the proposition was, and they kept hiding behind the skirts of the guy on the second floor, that they wanted training if they were going to go into the campus carry. And reluctantly, the committee, your committee on the conference, we gave in. And we said, yes, if this is what it takes to pass this, because ladies and gentlemen, I will go back to what I have told you all along. And I'm so proud of this body that this was the most comprehensive Second Amendment rights issues and the passage of that we've had in decades in this assembly. But we passed it, we agreed to it. We put the smell test on it. And then this morning when we came back in, ladies and gentlemen, the Senate had moved that goalpost. All of a sudden, because we had agreed to one set of the rules, that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. So then they wanted everybody to stand for this training. And that was what we could not do. That's what we could not do. So that's where it went. We couldn't get the Senate conferees to meet with us, to sit down across the table. We were hoping that the sanitation of the press being there might actually bring the folks out. Those folks who have signed pledges about their Second Amendment support, that we could get them to do it. And it didn't work. So now, at 5 minutes to 11, the conferees, they say, were released in the Senate to vote their conscience. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, they voted and they signed the report. But you know, while we were getting it printed for the House here, and we knew that it would take a motion for this House, for the members of this House, to suspend the rules of allowing that conference committee report to sit. It takes 2/3 in the Senate. And they've already released their senators. One of the senators on the conference committee has already took a hiatus and gone south. So, you know, it's the same old game. But that being said, I want to say this one more time. Each and every one of you in this House, especially you who voted in favor of 512 in the House and 101, and even to the folks who voted in opposition, you did it in a straight up and down manner. Such a better process than what we have been dealt with. And I will tell you that when you come back next year, you very well may have an opportunity to deal with this again. But for those of you out there, for each and every one of you who has supported the Second Amendment rights, who have fretted, who have lost sleep, that's gotten all the emails, that's got all the nasty phone calls, let me tell you something. Keep the faith, because you have nothing to feel ashamed of. And I want to thank you. And I want to say what a great session it is, and all I can say is, pack your pistol. Thank you.
I want y'all to, very important and special item of business. We have had since 9:30 this morning a number of young people staying here with us, working as pages in this chamber, and I think it's important we honor them at this time. Richard Clenenden, Trey Harris, Devin Irvin, Kevin Mason, Grace Lester, Anna Catherine Cash, Griffin Diggs, Colson Gullidge, Zane Doe, Hayden Cook, Andy Long, Reed Lee, Ira Lee, Ashley Malaire, Jesse Larios, Christy McPherson, Abby Hunt, Titus Clark, Caleb Setzler, Melissa Boland, Jeffrey Stevens, and Andrew Morris. Give them a big hand. We appreciate their service so much. We also have had a number of public safety officers that have served us day in and day out this session. Members of the Georgia State Patrol, the Capitol Hill Police, thank y'all very much for your service here at the Capitol. Thank y'all. We got a bill on the rules calendar that we need to do. First of all, what purpose does Chairman Meadows rise?
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to make a motion.
Can't recognize you quite yet. I'll come right back to you. I know what you're wanting to do. and I want you to do it. But you see, it works this way. The chair does not have to recognize you for that motion at this time. I do.
You got me cut out. Welcome,
I
good
tried.
morning. We're having a Rules Committee meeting, 5 minutes. Get in there. No. I move that all bills and resolutions that are on the general
I'm not going to recognize you for that at this time. We're taking up one more matter off the rules calendar. Clerk will read the caption to Senate Bill 213. Senate Bill 213.
Senate Bill 213 by Senator Tolson, 20th bill being titled Act amend Title 12, the Flint River Drought Protection Act. This bill having been for the House Committee on Agricultural and Consumer Affairs. The committee recommends the bill pass by substitute and be read for the third time.
Just kidding. All right. To the hardest working, most conscientious, dependable Rules Chairman anybody could have. Is he over in his seat or is he out walking around somewhere? Will you get over here and make a motion? I'm going to recognize you. And I'm saying nice things about you, whether I mean them or not. Chair recognizes the Chairman of the Rules Committee for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, is this microphone working? I move that all bills and resolutions on the general calendar be recommitted to the committees from which they came.
Chairman Meadows has moved that all bills and resolutions on the general calendar be recommitted to the committee from whence they came. Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it is so ordered. The Senate is still taking up some measures. We're done. And I think that's a real tribute to this House, and I just want to say thank all of you, each one of you, regardless of where you live and what party you are. I think this House has had a great session, and I want to thank each one of you. Thank you very much. Chair recognizes Representative Al Williams one more time You're a little early, a little early. Now, Chair, you said earlier today is the last time we'd get to hear from you.
I was wrong, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Chair recognizes Representative Williams.
Mr. Speaker, is it not so that I have about 15 minutes to address my dear friends?
It's not so.
Mr. Speaker, is it possible to question the ruling of the chair at this time? I mean, it didn't work the first time, maybe the second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just appreciate the session, and been a little bruising at time, but it's still the best day of my life.
Recognize the wives.
I'd also like to recognize the wives of these and spouses. I really don't care about the guys, but the spouses of the members of this General Assembly, and to my wife in Midway, and good night, Miss Calabash, wherever you are.
I'm going to miss you. I got to get down and visit with you, or I'll start missing you. What purpose does Representative Kirby rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that we have time for Representative Sharper to take the well and entertain us with a fine song?
I don't know. Somebody might want to do a bill rather than that. What purpose does Representative Bentley rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Is it not true that the Strawberry Festival will be held in Taylor County, Georgia next month? And everybody here is invited to come on down to Taylor County to get some fresh strawberries.
Now everybody in the room is going to be inviting somebody, all these people, to some kind of festival. But we'll note the Strawberry Festival. What purpose does Representative Nimmer rise?
Make a statement, Mr. Speaker.
Make a statement.
Statement. The hour is late. Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true on behalf of the governor's office and the three floor leaders that we are just really proud, and from my personal experience this year, and Representative Coomer and Representative Hatchett, we just want to say thank you to each one of the members who have worked with us as we tried to carry out the governor's legislation.
I should have put a time limit on these things. I'm sure all that's true, Representative.
I just want to say thank you on behalf of the floor leaders.
Thank you. What purpose does Chairman Sims rise? Do you have a poem?
No poem, Mr. Speaker, but
okay, I'm not
parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
I just wanted to, is it not true that one of the hardest working committees over here with local bills, and I just wanted to tell you how much Leo and Ward and I have appreciated everybody this year, and I'm glad we got every one of the local bills out this year. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, I think the Senate has finally realized that it's day 40.
It's all on you, Larry. No pressure.
I'm elected to simply pay them straight out with no commissions and fees for the television. And for that, it's $5,000 a month beginning January 1, and another 10 grand between now and January. And then, of course, there's all the other people.
The people got this proposal. They want to start out. It's like to me, it's basically between now and July of next year.
They're not done?
It was in that same range. To me, it seems like it's a little long. So I guess it's okay to let any other contract.
Yep.
You start in January.
Well, no, I'm going now. I'm certain about between now and January.
Chair recognizes the majority leader. Hang on just a minute. Is it?
We already had that.
They're still voting. 5 minutes past and they're still voting. One is the charge to make a difference.
Chair recognizes the majority leader of the House for a motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move this House now adjourn sine die.
On the motion of the majority leader, all in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed no. This House is adjourned sine die.